In life, we're looking for a way to make a life. We're looking for how do I do my job in the best way possible so that I am not only honoring myself but honoring the Lord above. You see, there is man's law and then there is God's law. God's law says, I made everyone and everything in the land. Man's law thinks that they know what God's law is and that God didn't make everyone, that certain people are not real, that certain issues are not viable, that certain people have more power than others, and that is not true. In life, only the fully submitted individual has power of the Lord and has the magic of God. What I mean by that is that they are gifted in ways that others are not. The reason is because they seek Him. They seek the Lord. They try to be as best as they can in their soul. They struggle like everyone else with the satanic force that challenges us, that makes us vile at times, that makes us curse and swear like sailors. But in truth, and that's an old sort of statement, not meaning any disparagement to the military, but in a long time ago, that's how they handled things. In today's world, we have a big problem with the fact that people do not listen well. They don't listen well, they don't take notes about what people say, they don't recall their conversations with others, they don't even remember their promises that they've kept and made. And what I mean by that is that they keep them to the point that it's no longer convenient for them to keep them. They lie about their maternal instincts, they lie about their rights in other people's lives, they think they have rights to ruin a person's life when they don't. The Lord is in charge of all life. The Lord can give a life into a child that is disseminated through a parentage, and the Lord can take a life away when it's time. My own late father knew he would not see his 85th birthday. He simply said, I won't see 85. He sort of knew this late in his life, around age 70, 75. I believe he started to say that. I think he just got the timing of it. I believe the Lord gifts those who submit their lives to Him. And in those gifts, He prepares the elderly for that transition by giving them the alert that the time is drawing near. He has done that regularly throughout time. We have seen that regularly in cinema and movies, which kind of depict real-life stories. But in life, there are others in this land that we sometimes call mutants in television programs that have unique gifts, that have unique abilities, that have unique aspects of prophecy, aspects of knowing, aspects of getting premonitions, aspects of helping people to solve crime, to do things correctly, to violate one's right is not what they're doing. They're using their spiritual gifts to help to protect the human race from all the other nationalities that are not truly human. What I mean by that is that there are people who are raised to be vile. There are children who get harmed by their parents, and their souls are never the same. They become vile creatures of the night. They become the hookers, the walkers, the talkers, the liars, the spewers of gossip, the vileness of the land. Now, when I talk like this, you won't like it because real pastors don't talk on these things. We try and have kumbaya all the time from the pulpit, which is great because it gives a good show. It fills the coffers and makes sure people get paid. But there are plenty of churches, large, huge churches, that are struggling to keep their rent. There are plenty on the edge of Indianapolis that bought too large, that invested too high, that are literally struggling because they are not talking about real life. They are not talking about trueness of the Lord. They are not giving the gifts of God to people. They are not focused on the Bible is not true, that they are not projecting and promoting the love of the Lord. You see, the love of the Lord is what the gods in heaven want to see in this land. And I can say gods because the Lord is not alone. He has His own family, His own lineage with Jesus Christ, and He has others to help Him do His work. We know this from all the passages in the Bible about angels. This was the first week that I've ever been to a men's group where one man out of the entire group actually acknowledged that angels exist. It's sort of amazing that we love these passages, we sing the songs at Christmas about angels we've heard on high, and yet we don't bother to recognize the angels of the Lord in our daily life. As a man who totally believes in angels, who completely understands what goes on is not true, but openly I do have enough gifts to know that angels do walk among us. They do slip in and out of the spirit world to the point that we can sometimes hear them. The best way to be heard by God is to simply say, Lord, I don't know what to do. Lord, I don't know what to say. Lord, help me in this moment so that I perform in the most honorable way, honoring your love of all people. When a human being does that, they change their entire approach to their own work, to their own life, to their own relationships. They stop playing the blame game. They stop pointing the fingers at others. They start pointing that finger that's pointing towards someone else and see that they have, as the saying goes, at least 3 fingers pointing back at themselves. They take the speck out of their own eye before they look to the speck in someone else's eye. But the truth is, there are still responsibilities to our own actions, our own words, our own vileness. There are literally people in physician's office that hear a person has a condition and then literally try to medicate them in a way that is not correct. Those men and women are not in God's keeping. Yet they are allowed to practice because we only put them to a test of mental prowess. We only put them to a test of understanding medications and other things. But there are plenty of vile physicians, PhDs, and other MA types that utilize their degrees to harm people. There are plenty of lawyers that intentionally do not do their work so that someone loses their rights. There are plenty of men who linger in trucks in parking lots thinking they have the right to observe someone, to watch someone, to call police on them, and to destroy a person's legal name. There are plenty of people that have failed to recognize where their rights begin and another person's rights also begin. What I mean by also begin is that a person in this land, a human being, only has the right to their own personal self. They only have the right to their own personal mind. They only have the right to their own personal heart, their own personal soul, their own personal intellect. And they are responsible singly and solely once they reach a mature adulthood around age 24, is what scientists have said with regard to the fully functioning aspects of the human mind, that in those moments of time, that individual is completely, fully responsible for their behavior, their thoughts, their actions, their mouths unto the Lord. I sometimes really struggle in this area because when I cannot find something, when someone has stolen something from me, when someone has injected my body in the middle of the night with something that I feel so ill in the morning that I know it's not natural to me, when I wake up with a metal taste in my mouth as if someone has tainted food, I feel a rage in me. It's an embarrassing emotion. It feels